All right, so as I was saying, I think a big part of the problem was that my mom and dad wouldn't talk to me and see me. So, for instance, like when my ex, uh, when we went to the doctor after she had a threatened miscarriage, when we went to the doctor, uh, my ex told me that she wanted to talk to my mom because she wanted my mom to be able to help out a little bit, during the pregnancy because my ex had to get a cerclage and she needed someone to take care of her and help her out. But so she said, try to talk to your mom and see if we can talk to her. And I tried to call my mom the whole day, but my mom wouldn't answer because a lot of times my mom had me blocked, and it's just so frustrating. And I think that a lot of, I think it did make me angry. I would get angry and I would get uptight and upset about it. The disrespect that my mom shows me and showed me and all that. And like I said, during that time too, I was trying to get a hold of my mom and dad, and I would write a lot on Facebook about how my mom and dad abandoned me and how and a lot of it was I was saying too how I felt that my grandpa contributed to it with his how they misinterpreted his existential metapsychiatry, and I think that they made it into a conservative thing and a victim blamer thing. And I just wish that I could just show my dad what happened with the shoot away machine and move on. But my mom, like I said, my mom was like, "Oh, you don't take responsibility for anything," trying to like mimic my grandpa's teachings, but that's not my grandpa didn't teach that. My grandpa said that she was expressing dualistic software, and she wasn't in the flow. She was expressing predator-prey dualistic software, and they should have he says that they were stubborn and they misinterpreted his teachings, and they should talk to me. But I do feel like if my ex would have been able to talk to my mom and dad and I wasn't abandoned and stuff, things would have worked out maybe better. At least I don't think the baby would have been killed. Probably it probably would have been bad. And like I said, even part of the reason why I got with the ex was I was hoping the baby would get me back in touch with my parents and stuff. But if my parents were talking to me, I probably would have never gotten with my ex in the first place. But I don't want to blame my parents. But I have to say, okay, maybe things would have been different, but still I saw things through a Darwinian perspective. I wanted to just have a child so that I could be superior. And I wasn't, as my grandpa would say, in the flow. I didn't discern. It wasn't a good idea to have a baby with her. She's a single mom with the El Salvadorian guy who was a drug addict. Wasn't the best idea, and she was also older. But I was selfish and I just wanted to have a baby so I could be superior. But so at this point, I was trying to, she said that she wanted to talk to my mom, but my mom wouldn't answer my calls or my text messages. And, my mom had become callous. And I said, as I said, my mom had developed a hatred for me ever since high school when the shoot away messed up my shot. And she's like, "What's wrong with you? You're a shooter. What's wrong with you?" She didn't know it was a shoot away machine. There was nothing wrong with me. If it wasn't for the shoot away machine, I would have been a star. My dad and mom would have been happy with me. My grandpa probably wouldn't have come from Kauai, so maybe that was part of the reason why it was good that this happened. But things would have been good. But then they tried to make it into, "Oh, Ryan must have problems. He's trying to make things happen because his shot got messed up and now he's trying to make his dad help him." And no, it was much more complicated than that. It wasn't because I had mental issues or a mental illness or fucking bullshit. It was because the shoot away messed up my shot. My dad told me to do the wrong thing. But he didn't know that. In his mind, he was telling me to do the right thing and I was just fucking up. So in his mind, "You should be shooting sideways. What's wrong with you? You fucked up my shot with the shoot away machine. You told me you had me picking the ball from a rack, and that's gonna mess up anybody's shot, you idiot. And then you're telling me to do the exact wrong thing with my feet. Of course my shot's gonna get messed up. And it's all about shooting natural, but you're picking the ball off a rack, and then you tell me to do the exact wrong thing. My dad was the one who screwed me up. But I want to move on from that, and I want to show him, hey, I can show him now. At that time, I couldn't show him, but I learned more. I can show him exactly what good shooters do and how the shoot away machine does not allow it. I would like to show my dad. I can show everybody, but I don't want to because I don't want to make good shooters think. But my point is, I was already uptight and upset. And then, my ex wants me to get in touch with my mom, and my mom's not responding. So then I'm already uptight. And then like I said, then we went to the doctor, and I was already upset that my ex had asked if she could have play dates with my black friend. So then I make a comment about black people having lower IQs. And, then my ex is upset. "Oh, you're racist. Oh, you're racist. I don't want to..." we were supposed to have dinner that night, so then she didn't want to have dinner with me. But I wasn't racist. My whole life, I was anti-white. I saw myself as Jewish, and I wanted the black people to destroy the white race and intermix with the white race, and so no. But basically, I wasn't an innocent victim. I saw things through a Darwinian lens. I wasn't in the flow, as my grandpa would say. I didn't see things through the spiritual lens. I wanted, dualistic software toward white people. And then I got with my ex, who was a drug addict. But, because I was a Darwinian, I just want to have a child. And I actually liked that she had a brown child because, I like that because I like brown. I saw myself as Jewish and I liked brown people. And I liked the fact that she, race mixed with a brown person, and also like seeing myself as more black and wanting race mixing. I wanted to be like a black guy, black guys who I knew my whole life. They're always like super, hypersexual and like impulsive. And I wanted to be like that. Like, oh yeah, I made a girl a single mom. Like, I don't give a shit about society. I don't give a shit. I'm impulsive and I don't give a, I just do what I do, And I wanted to have sex with have a baby out of wedlock. And I wanted to role model that. And so like, I'm a rapper, basketball player, and I'm Jewish, but really I'm more black. And I wanted to degrade society and to be a role model for more people to act black and have babies out of wedlock. And so I made a stupid decision. It was my grandpa said it was based around my software, dualistic software. I wasn't in the flow. I identified as Jewish and saw and looked at things in a Darwinian perspective and didn't see things as spiritual, transpersonal perspective. And as everything is one, is in, they teach in existential metapsychiatry. My perspective, my mode of seeing was not optimal. So, as I said, my ex-girlfriend, she was Snapchatting a guy, and I ended up, I wanted to. We were supposed to have food that night. We were supposed to go out to dinner, but then she said no. But then we picked up her daughter, and her daughter was like, I was like, can I come in? And her daughter was like, yeah, I want Ryan to come in. I want Ryan to come in. So I was like, yeah, your daughter wants me to come in. So I went in, but then I held my ex there, and I was like, hey, listen, I want to know who this Jared guy is who you're Snapchatting in front of me. I want to be able to talk to him, and I'm like, you're cheating on me. You're pregnant with my baby. Now I can't even be sure that this is my baby, even though I did know it was my baby. But, I'm like, I want to know what's going on here. And then my ex calls my mom, and then now my mom's like, ooh, yeah. Now she can be friends with my ex and be like, ooh, even his ex hates him. Even his ex wants nothing to do with him. Just like me. See, she's proving my point. Now you see, I told you Ryan was bad. Ryan has a pregnant girlfriend, and he's treating her bad. How can you treat a pregnant girl bad? Even though my pregnant girlfriend was, Snapchatting guys in front of me, lying about going to parties, basically extremely disrespecting me. But now my mom, has more evidence that I'm the bad guy. So my ex calls my mom. She's like, he's being mean. He won't leave my apartment. I just wanted to see what was going on with Jared, and I wanted to see, basically, I want to be able to talk to him and see if she's cheating on me. I want to know what was going on. But now I'm the bad guy. And my mom goes, see, oh my God. So then my mom stopped giving me money. And then because my mom's like, I can't believe that you would treat your pregnant girlfriend bad. Meanwhile, and so my mom's like, see, this is why we won't talk to you or see you, because you're the bad guy. And my mom never stops to think, maybe if I and his dad were to talk to him and treat him with some respect and dignity over the last 15 years, then maybe this fucking bad stuff wouldn't happen. But, my mom was like, oh, blame us and don't blame yourself. Well, I'm not completely blaming her, but I do think that if not just them, there's a lot of factors, but if my mom and dad weren't being idiots and if they would have just talked to me, then a lot of the bad stuff wouldn't happen. And also, my grandpa was a bad teacher, and he confused me. So, now I understand his teaching is better, but at the time I didn't understand it. And so, then my mom's like, ooh, see, yeah, exactly. This is why we won't ever talk to you. This is why we've abandoned you and alienated you for the last 15 years. No, there's no justification for what the fuck they did. There isn't. And if they wouldn't have done that, I would have been playing basketball, making rap music, doing a bunch of stuff, doing a lot of stuff. I discovered the theory of everything. And my mom was like, "Oh, you're schizophrenic." No, there's no fucking excuse for how they're treating me. If they would have just talked to me, all this stuff would not be going on. It would have been a lot better. But also, at the same time, I look at things optimistically, and I think, you know what? Maybe it was meant to be this way. I had to go through what I went through, and now hopefully I could just continue to excel because I discovered the theory of everything, and hopefully I'll go to Israel soon and play professional basketball and all that. But my point is, so then my mom's like, now my mom and my ex are buddies because my ex is like, so then my ex texted me, she's like, Ryan, if you don't start taking medicine, then you're never going to see your baby. So I was like, I showed her the fucking psychiatrist papers showing that I didn't have a mental illness, that the psychiatrist gave me the MMPI and all that stuff. So I'm like, so then she was like, okay, well, you could take, your, maybe do like, I forget what thing was called, like neurofeedback or something like that. And then you could see the baby. But my point is, I feel bad for my ex because, my ex isn't a genius. First off, she doesn't know that I discovered the theory of everything, and she didn't know that my mom and dad, most people will blame the victim, and she's going to start asking questions, and most people make assumptions, and she's going to think, his own mom won't talk to him, his own dad won't talk to him, he must have problems, he must be the problem. Most people make assumptions, and and also, like I said, my swag flow was off a lot of stuff, but my swag flow wouldn't have been off if my mom and dad would have, when I graduated from college, discovered the theory of everything. I could have, if my mom and dad would have helped me, I would have possibly got a lot of basketball videos. But again, my mom and dad abandoned me, throwing me to Kawhi. It made me so I was nervous, and I wanted to get my basketball videos, but I was stuck on Kawhi. My mom and dad thought I had schizophrenia when I discovered the theory of everything. It's bullshit. And I wanted to get my basketball videos, but I was too afraid to ask people, and then things spiraled out of control. Now you could say, my grandpa would say, well, just take responsibilities because you weren't in the flow. Yeah, it might be true that I wasn't in the flow, but also you guys have to fucking take some responsibility too. I didn't understand my grandpa's existential metapsychiatry. I thought it was victim blaming, and this made me even more into a Marxist. But I was always a Marxist regardless, but I was always an anti-white Marxist, saw myself as Jewish. But they didn't help by throwing me to the side and by treating me bad and not talking to me. If my dad would just talk to me, and that excelled the terrible stuff. If my mom and dad would just fucking talk to me and seen me, I wouldn't have been bad. I would have just talked to them. I just wanted to talk to them. You have no idea. But it's so easy to make me out to be the bad guy. It's so easy to make me out to be the bad guy because it's so easy to blame the victim and make assumptions. But if I would have been able to just talk to my mom and dad and they could just see that I'm a normal person, it would have been fine. Things would have probably been a lot better. But maybe I had to go through what I went through. But regardless, so then my ex, she's saying that, she's not responding to my messages. And then I'm upset because she has to get a cerclage, but she's not responding to my messages. But then she finally gets a cerclage. And then I meet her for a dinner. And she tells me that the doctor told her that she needs to be on bed rest. And that I need to take care of her during the rest of pregnancy. So I say, okay, I'll do that. But in my mind, like I said, it was more selfish. I wanted the baby to survive so I could be superior. And also I liked my ex a lot too. I do think that I love my ex because maybe because I've been abandoned by my family, by my mom and dad, and my grandpa wasn't teaching me at that time. And I'm going to get to that in my stories, but my grandpa wasn't teaching me. I've been abandoned by my mom and dad. And I wanted, and when I was first with my ex, I really loved being with my ex because she helped me to feel better because I had someone to be with, someone who I felt was loving me, and I didn't have that with my mom. My mom had fucking abandoned me. And there's no fucking justification. I discovered the theory of everything. So, but then my ex, so I tell her, okay, I'll take care of you. But then, so I stay with her, sleep over at her place. But then the next morning it was raining and we had to go to Kids Empire because her daughter, wanted to play because it was raining. But, she had already called off of work and she had, told her work that she can't work because she needs to be on bed rest. And the doctor said she needed to be on bed rest and I was going to be taking care of her. But we went to Kids Empire and again, I was talking to my ex and I was like, do you like Doja Cat and stuff? She's like, yeah, I like Doja Cat and I like Megan Thee Stallion. And, she likes all these black rappers who are basically like the great society. And, these are her role models. And she, she's done a lot of drugs and, and she has a Salvadorian mixed daughter. And like I said, she wanted her mixed daughter to hang out with this black girl, her name was like Anna Rose. And I think the reason why she did was because, she was kind of anti-white because she had a Jewish stepdad and she wanted to be, and I think, being associated with the Jewish stepdad, she probably liked them and she wanted to be anti-white too because she saw white people as bad because she had a Jewish stepdad and Jews don't like white people, so, and an Italian mom but a white dad. So she was probably confused in general. That's probably why she was a drug addict, but regardless, so then I went with her to the Kids Empire, and her daughter was disrespecting me. Like her daughter would say, call me Brian instead of Ryan, and then my ex would smile like hee hee hee. Oh, she called you Brian, hee hee. And then the daughter would see that, and the daughter would continue because my ex didn't respect me. My ex looked down upon me. She didn't know I discovered the theory of everything. She in her mind, she didn't know I discovered the theory of everything. She's thinking, oh, this guy's just a loser. His own family, his own mom and dad won't talk to him. But again, she makes assumptions. She doesn't know that she probably thinks that my mom and dad have made many attempts to talk to me and I blew it. But like I said, it's irrational what happened. My grandpa fucked it up with his whole, Ryan just wants independence and that's why he discovered the quadrant model. And my mom and dad were like, oh, make him independent? Okay, throw him to the side. And all the fucking confusion. My grandpa fucking confused everybody. He confused everybody and threw me to the side, and then my mom and dad are like, okay, we'll make him independent, and I've never talked to him again, and weirdos. If my mom and dad would not be such fucking weirdos, just talk to me, treat me with some respect and dignity. So, see me, but, probably my ex thinks that they have made many attempts, and I probably blew it each time, but they haven't made any attempts. And the fucking crazy thing is, I'll get to this later, but later, like, at the time when my grandpa was dying, my uncle asked my dad, because I had my uncle ask my dad if I could see my grandpa. My dad was like, no, in high school he was really bad and he was really violent. No, it was because of shooting machine. I'll get to that, but the thing is, he's stuck in the past. But in college, I met with my dad a few times and I didn't do anything bad. I was always fucking good. The only thing I did bad was I discovered the theory of everything. Is that bad to discover the theory of everything? But so, basically, so my ex, we went to the Kids Empire with her daughter, and her daughter doesn't respect me, but because my ex doesn't respect me, so it's kind of like mutual. They don't respect me, but I'm taking care of her. I'm going out of my way to take care of her, but she's at Kids Empire. She's supposed to be on bed rest. So I'm getting frustrated because she's supposed to be on bed rest. The doctor told her she has to be on bed rest, but she's moving around a lot. So we leave Kids Empire, we go back to my place, and my ex is saying that that she won't go to Kids Empire anymore because she needs to be on bed rest. And I was like, good, but she hadn't told her daughter's dad that she was pregnant, and she was at this point 4 months pregnant, and she still was hiding it from her daughter's dad. And I was like, you need to tell him so that this doesn't happen more, because we need someone to help take care of your daughter, because if no one's taking care of your daughter, then you're going to have to be moving around taking care of her all the time. So you need to tell him. So then I went back to the place and I was cooking. And now I use this as an excuse because I just like to learn stuff, and I never learned how to cook. So I thought, okay, this will be an excuse for me to learn how to cook, and she'll teach me how to cook while I'm taking care of her while she's pregnant. So I'm cooking and I'm learning how to cook and stuff. And but I'm telling her that she needs to tell her daughter's dad that she's pregnant, because her daughter was going crazy running around, and my ex was supposed to be on bed rest, but she can't be on bed rest while she's taking care of the daughter. So the daughter was frustrating me because the daughter kicked her in the stomach, and then she was like, ow. And I was like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? But the whole time the daughter's acting crazy and she has to be on bed rest. And I'm like, you need to tell your daughter's dad that you're pregnant so that someone can help, because you can't be pregnant and taking care of your daughter at the same time if you're on bed rest. So I'll get to what happens next.